Well, it's time to relic a guitar. 2 weeks ago, this was a brand new $200 Squire Telecaster. I bought it from Sweetwater, and the build on this guitar is actually really good. I have a 1996 made in Mexico Telecaster that's kind of my go-to guitar, and this one's very close to that quality. So I'll be turning this into a 1954 Micawber Telecaster. Micawber is the Telecaster that Keith Richards from the Rolling Stones owns, and he was gifted from Eric Clapton back in 1971. A lot of changes will have to be made to this guitar, including the neck pickup and the bridge pickup. So the bridge pickup I'm not going to replace, but the neck pickup will be replaced. I bought a PAF humbucker for that position, although I'm going to have to route the body out and make some major changes to this guitar to make that fit. So some of the other things we're going to be doing on this guitar is relicing the body, some serious relicing. The guitar is over 50 years old that Keith has, and the bridge was actually replaced with a brass bridge, I believe it was, and I bought a gold anodized, so we'll make that work. The neck was also heavily reliced, including this little inlay dot that was missing, so we're going to have to drill this out because of how Keith strummed. So as we go through this, you're going to see how I relic everything from these bridge saddles all the way up, even the little screws that are in the bridge saddles. There's one little pole pickup that I'm going to have to color black because that pole piece is missing on Keith's guitar. So quite a few things we're going to be doing to relic this guitar. Underneath here, the electronics, we're going to leave the electronics pretty much the same. So, but come along with me on this journey to replace the pickups and all the other things that we're going to be doing on this guitar. I think you're going to enjoy the whole process from start to finish. And then at the very end of this video, I'll be playing this guitar. So the first thing we're going to need to do is remove these strings from the guitar. I would normally keep them on. The strings that come with these guitars are not bad, but I'm going to need to restring the guitar anyway. And we're actually going to only go 5 strings. But the first thing I do is I detune the guitar so that these strings don't come up and snap me in the face when I cut them off. And cutting them off is by far easier than trying to unstring them all the way and get them off that way. So again, just get the strings as loose as you can, grab your cutters, and start cutting away. So like I said, we're going to be putting 5 strings on here, and I'll give you the gauge measurements and everything. Welcome to the next step in making this the Keith Richards Micawber guitar. So what I've done is I've sanded the body down as far as I could, and then as far as I felt comfortable with it. And I wanted to get it down to bare wood, but not much past that. And the reason I want to get it to bare wood and get all of the previous paint off is I want to relic it to look like this with a lot of the bare wood showing. And there's a couple tricks you can do to get the bare wood to show. And if I want this to look exactly like the Micawber guitar, I need to create the issues with it where he strummed way too close to the top of the neck and damaged the wood here. So basically what I do is I draw out about where I think I'm going to need to trim some of the wood out and get it, turn it so I can see it, and get it so that it's going to be as close to the original as possible. So that's pretty close there. And once I get that done, I can take a tool and start digging in and taking some of this wood out. So instead of boring you with all the details, I'm going to get this going and work with that. Now, to get the wear on the guitar here for the wood, what I'll do is I have liquid wax here, and I'll take the liquid wax and as closely to this as I can, I'll take the liquid wax and paint it on. So let me get some liquid wax on here. We'll paint it on. So what the liquid wax will do is it's going to prevent the paint from adhering to the guitar when I go ahead and paint this body. And then once I'm satisfied with the paint job, I'll take and wipe the guitar off, and the paint will come off where the wax is. So I'm just going to follow this very closely and try to get as much of the damage on the guitar as possible. So this is a good shot here, so I'll be able to get this. And I'm currently relicing these pieces. Those are getting reliced in a chemical, so I'll show you how I do that later on. But so I'm going to get this as close as I can, and I'll spare you the boring details of doing each little bit. But like I said, I got to dig some of the wood out and then get the wax in the parts that I need to not have painted here, and then we'll be ready to go. So looking forward to this build, and it should be a lot of fun. Thought I'd show you the next step in the process. Now that we're done with the paint, what I've done is prior to putting the paint on, I showed you how I put wax on the parts that I don't want the paint to stick, and then the wax comes off and you end up with a spot that has no paint on it. So I put the paint, the wax in several different spots, and all I do is just scrape it off now. So it comes off really nice. And I won't bore you with all the details, but I'm going to do all the rest of the guitar this way. So here I am sanding the edge of these frets, and I'm using a real heavy sandpaper just to get as much of the material off as possible, because Keith really ground down the frets with his playing on this edge. And this is a 5-string guitar. It's going to mimic his, so that the 5th string really didn't need a fret, a 6th string, I mean. So if these are sanded down, that's not a big deal. I'm going to try to keep the rest of the fret nice so that I can play the other 5 strings and tune this thing to open G. But I just need to mimic all of the strumming that he did down here over the years. So stay tuned to see how she looks later. One of the things that I do when I'm working on a guitar, like if I'm changing the strings or something, is I will find out if the guitar's isolated or not. And this prevents hums and everything else coming in through the guitar, coming out from the guitar. So I'll check and see if it's isolated. If it's not, I'll do it. And one of the things you want to watch for is, you may have little holes, like this little hole here leads to a small hole over here. You want to poke that hole through so that when you put the electronics through the wires, that they're going to go through easier. So as you're putting this in, just remember where those little holes are. But what I do is I just take and I measure with the tape about how long I'm going to need that piece. I cut it, and then this stuff is pretty easy to work with. And after I say that, I have a real hard time getting hold of the edge. Okay, then I pull it. Now watch, it won't go real smooth because I'm on camera. There we go. So you get it in here, you push it down, and you just keep going around with all the other pieces you've cut. Another one. Kind of tuck it in. And if you come over the top edge here a little bit, it's not a big deal. It just aesthetically doesn't look great, but you're getting it isolated. So again, just keep going with all these different areas. It's kind of fun to work with this, and you'll have a much better sounding guitar. Now what I'm doing here is bathing the parts in muriatic acid. To do this, you have 2 different vessels, one large one, one small. Put the parts in the small one and then pour the muriatic acid into the larger vessel. Leave them in there for about a half a day to a full day, and you get some really nice results. The relicing of these parts came out beautiful. I mean, look at those tone knobs. Really nice. Okay, I'm all ready to start putting the pickups and selector knobs and stuff in. So this bridge goes here. Selector knob and stuff goes here. The PAF pickup will get in there. This has been a really fun project. And you know, in all the research I've done, so many spots say that his guitar, Keith's guitar, is a 54. A couple sites say it's a 53. There's no sites that talk about the wiring. And I was trying to figure out who came up with the idea of putting the Gibson PAF humbucker in there. And it seems like it was a kind of a collaborative effort between Keith and his guitar tech. I don't remember the guy's name, but it's like a Italian name. So it sounded like kind of a collaborative effort between the two. I think the idea of the brass bridge was Keith's guitar tech. That's what it seemed like to me anyway. From the research I was looking at. Now these screws are still the original gold color. Boy, you can really tell too the difference in the color after I aged the bridge with muriatic acid. Major difference. So what I'll probably do is just take a little bit of muriatic acid and just touch it on the top of these screws, and it'll age those. So I'll get those in. The cover goes on like this. So I'm gonna not bore you with all that, but she's coming together really well. So in wiring this up, the white wire is the one that is powering the PAF pickup, and I'm testing to see how the pickups are working. So that pickup is working good. This one, of course, is off in this switch position. Second switch position, I get both pickups, and then third switch position, turns that one off, and that one's on. That's how it's supposed to be. But you hear that hum? Once I ground this, the hum goes away. And it's not showing that grounding in a lot of the wiring that I've looked at myself, but it does need to be grounded. So I'll be grounding this PAF, so just wanted you to know how the wiring is going. Okay, so I ran into an issue with this bridge. As you can see, this is these are where the saddles mount, these little items here. So the saddles are what hold the strings in place, and then, you know, bring them up through up over across the top of the neck and into the head. But this one has the holes just for the saddles. That means that this design, the string went through this and went through this hole, and then it was stringed through the back of the body. On these Squire Telecasters, you can see there's more holes, so if I compare them head to head, you can see the difference. The Squire Telecasters are what they refer to as top load, where the string ferrule comes up here and just sits right here. So I'm going to have to use this particular bridge. And I could drill through the body, which I might end up doing. And if I do that, I will definitely make a video on it. In fact, I can promise you I'm going to do that, because you can buy the little brass ferrules that go on the back of the body. You just need to make sure that you drill very straight and accurate. I have a drill press, so I will take this guitar apart here in the next few weeks and re-drill it. But for now, I'm going to put this one back on, this bridge, and get this rocking, because this bridge turned out so nice and it looks a lot more closer to what Keith's Telecaster is. But this one will work for now. So you'll see a couple more videos on this guitar as I go. Okay, let's see how this thing sounds.